Every winter, people freeze to death in parked cars just a few hundred feet from heated buildings. Meanwhile, families who lost their homes and ended up sleeping in a van make it through Minnesota nights that drop below zero with no propane, no power, and almost no money. And the first thing those families would tell you has nothing to do with heaters. It's a $30 trick with the windows that keeps a van 10 to 15 degrees warmer overnight, and it's coming up first. Today, I'm walking you through 10 of those hacks, and then 5 mistakes that put people in the hospital every winter. Mistake number 3 kills someone every single year, and the thing that causes it is probably sitting in your garage right now. Hack number 1, insulate the windows first. A van is a metal box wrapped around a bunch of glass, and glass is where heat escapes fastest. Long-term van dwellers cut panels of reflective foil insulation, the silver bubble wrap from the hardware store, to fit every single window. The panels press into the window frames, bounce your body heat back into the van, and block the cold radiating off the glass. A full set for a cargo van costs $30 or $40 and lasts for years. But families with no money at all do it for free. They collect thick cardboard from grocery store dumpsters, cut it to size, and wrap it in aluminum foil or a torn-up emergency blanket from the dollar store. Is it pretty? No. Does it work? Absolutely. People who've measured it report the inside of a covered van staying 10 to 15 degrees warmer overnight compared to bare glass. And for a parent with kids sleeping in the back, there's a second benefit that matters just as much. Covered windows mean nobody can see inside. Warmth and privacy from a pile of cardboard. But insulation only slows the heat loss. The next hack decides how much cold your van has to fight in the first place, and it doesn't cost a cent. Hack number 2, park like your life depends on it, because it does. Where you park can swing the temperature inside a van by 20 degrees before you do anything else. Experienced van dwellers think about 3 things every evening. First, wind. Wind strips heat off a metal van fast, so they tuck in behind buildings, hedges, and retaining walls, anything that breaks the airflow. Second, thermal mass. A concrete parking garage holds the day's warmth all night, and the lower levels often sit 10 to 20 degrees warmer than the open street. Some hospital and airport garages allow overnight parking for a small fee or none at all. Third, morning sun. Facing the windshield east means free solar heat the moment the sun comes up, which makes getting kids dressed on a January morning a whole lot easier. And there's the human factor. Parking near a 24-hour business means a warm lobby, a bathroom, and coffee within walking distance if the night turns dangerous. None of this costs anything. It just requires thinking about your van the way a sailor thinks about weather. So parking smart keeps the cold out, but you still need heat inside. And the oldest trick in the book beats most of the gadgets they sell for it. Hack number 3, the hot water bottle trick. This one is old. Your great-grandparents did it, and families sleeping in cars do it every night. You fill a rugged bottle with hot water, wrap it in a sock or a towel, and tuck it into the bedding about 20 minutes before lying down. That bottle radiates heat for 6 to 8 hours, which covers most of the night. The clever part is where the hot water comes from. Gas stations have hot water spouts on their coffee machines. Fast food restaurants will fill a bottle if you ask politely, especially if you buy a dollar coffee first. 1 bottle warms your feet. 2 bottles, 1 at the feet and 1 at the core, keep an adult comfortable well below freezing, and parents doing this put 1 bottle in with each kid. A proper rubber hot water bottle costs under $10 at any pharmacy. Just don't use boiling water in a cheap bottle. Warm tap hot is plenty, and check the cap twice, because a wet sleeping bag in the cold is worse than no trick at all. Now, a hot bottle warms a bed, but the next hack is what makes that bed hold the heat, and it's the one that takes newcomers embarrassingly long to figure out. Hack number 4, shrink the space you're heating. You don't need to warm the whole van. You only need to warm the little bubble around the people in it. Families living in cargo vans hang a heavy curtain or a moving blanket behind the front seats, because the cab with all that glass is a heat sink you'll never win against. Some go further and build a canopy over the bed itself, draping blankets from the ceiling so the sleeping area becomes a small tent inside the van. A human body puts out roughly the same heat as a 100-watt light bulb. 2 adults and a child are 3 light bulbs running all night. In a full-size van, that heat disappears. In a curtained-off sleeping nook, it genuinely warms the air. People who've done this say the sleeping area holds 15 degrees over the rest of the vehicle with no heater running at all. A thrift store comforter and a handful of clamps builds one for under $10. It's the same reason a dog curls into a ball on a cold night. Small space, trapped heat, survivable temperatures, and once you have that small warm bubble, you can add a heat source that would be useless in a big open van. It costs pennies a night, but it comes with a serious warning. Hack number 5, the candle heater. Used carefully. You've probably seen this one. A few tea lights under an upside-down terracotta flower pot raised on bolts or bricks so air can flow. The clay pot absorbs the flame's heat and radiates it slowly into the space instead of letting it rush to the ceiling. Let's be honest about what it does. 3 tea lights put out maybe 100 watts of heat. That will not turn a van tropical. But inside that curtained sleeping area we just built, 100 steady watts takes the edge off a brutal night, warms hands, dries damp gloves, and lifts morale, which matters more than people admit. Tea lights cost a few dollars for a bag of 50. Now the serious part. This is an open flame in a small space. It goes on a metal tray away from any bedding. A window stays cracked while it burns, and it gets blown out before anyone falls asleep. No exceptions, and never with children unattended near it. Used with respect, it's a tiny free furnace. Used carelessly, it's how vans burn down. And even fire is not the mistake that kills the most people in vehicles every winter. That one gives you no flame, no smoke, and no warning at all, and we're getting to it. First, let's solve power. Hack number 6, the free charging circuit. A dead phone in a van isn't an inconvenience. It's a safety problem. Families living on the road build what you might call a charging circuit, a daily route of free outlets. Public libraries are the crown jewel. Warm, safe, free Wi-Fi, outlets at every table, and a children's section where kids can spend a cold afternoon while everything charges. Laundromats have outlets and warmth, and one load of laundry buys 90 minutes of charging. Fast food restaurants, community centers, church halls, and shopping mall food courts round out the list. The trick veterans use is simple. They don't just charge a phone. They carry 2 or 3 large power banks and charge everything at once. So one library visit stores enough electricity to run a phone, a headlamp, and a heated blanket controller for 2 days. A 20,000 milliamp hour power bank costs around $20 and pays for itself in the first week. Free electricity is everywhere in a modern town. You just have to collect it like rainwater. But there's one monthly expense the long-timers say beats everything free on this list. Hack number 7, the $10 gym membership. Ask anyone who's lived in a vehicle long-term and they'll tell you the same thing. The best money they spend every month is a budget gym membership. Some national chains charge $10 a month and stay open 24 hours. Think about what that buys a family living in a van. Hot showers every single day, which in winter is also 15 minutes of standing in pure heat. Clean bathrooms. A warm building where you have every legal right to be at 2 in the morning when it's in the single digits outside. For a person on the edge, that membership is heat, hygiene, power, and dignity for 33 cents a day. Plenty of retirees living in RVs plan their entire travel routes around which towns have their gym chain. It's technically not free, I'll grant you that, but when one small payment replaces the heating bill, the water bill, and the electric bill all at once, it's the closest thing to free that money can buy. If this is the kind of knowledge you'd rather have and never need, hit subscribe. I cover practical survival and preparedness like this every week. Now the next hack is the one that turns a desperate situation into a sustainable one. Hack number 8, harvest the sun with a cheap panel. Solar has gotten so cheap that people with almost nothing can afford a starter setup. A foldable 100-watt panel now sells for $50 to $80, sometimes less used, and it plugs straight into those power banks we talked about. The routine is simple. Park facing the sun, prop the panel on the dashboard behind the windshield or lay it on the roof, and let daylight fill the batteries while you go about your day. Even in weak winter sun, a 100-watt panel tops up a phone-sized power bank several times over. Pair it with a small portable power station, and now you can run a 12-volt electric blanket for a few hours. That blanket draws about 50 watts, sips power, and warms the bed directly instead of wasting energy on air. It's the safest heat source that exists inside a vehicle. And when we reach the mistakes section, you'll see exactly why that word, safest, matters so much. Sun in, warmth out, no fuel, no flame, no monthly bill. For a family that ended up in a van after a layoff, that first solar panel is often the moment things stop feeling like an emergency and start feeling like a system. Hack number 9, build a sleep cocoon. Every experienced van dweller eventually learns that the bed is the heating system. Heaters fail, fuel runs out, batteries die, but a properly layered bed works every night for free. The foundation is insulation underneath you because the cold floor steals more heat than the cold air does. A foam pad, a folded moving blanket, even flattened cardboard under the mattress makes a real material difference. On top, the rule is layers. Wool, if you can find it. Thrift stores sell wool blankets for a few dollars, and wool keeps insulating even when it's damp, which cotton does not. The final layer is a windproof shell over everything to trap the warm air your body produces. This is where a lot of van dwellers and preppers keep a thermal bivvy in their kit, an emergency sleeping bag with an aluminized lining that reflects your own body heat back at you, so you're essentially sleeping inside a heat mirror. No batteries, no fuel, nothing to charge or maintain. You climb in, and your own body does the rest. A decent one costs $10 to $20, weighs a few ounces, and packs down smaller than a soda can, which is why experienced folks don't just keep one in the sleeping kit. They keep one in the glove box of every vehicle the family drives. Because the night you slide off a rural road in a snowstorm, that little pouch is the difference between a miserable night and a dangerous one. Under blankets and inside a shell like that, body heat alone will carry you through temperatures that would otherwise be genuinely dangerous. Which brings us to the last hack, the one people always forget because it's the heater you were born with. Hack number 10, cook your heat. Your body is a furnace, and food is its fuel. Families who survive winters in vehicles eat differently than the rest of us. They eat a hot, heavy meal right before bed, something with fat and calories, because digestion itself generates heat for hours. A pot of stew, rice with butter, oatmeal loaded with peanut butter. Cheap calories, deliberately timed, and kids especially need them because small bodies lose heat faster than adults. The camp stove that cooks the meal does double duty, since 10 minutes of cooking with the doors open warms the cookware, the food, and you. Then there's the thermos trick. Before bed, fill a good stainless thermos with boiling water. At 2 in the morning, when the cold wakes you, you have instant hot tea or broth without leaving the blankets, and that hot drink restarts your internal furnace in minutes. A decent thermos runs $15 and lasts a decade. Compare that to any heating gadget on the market and nothing comes close. So those are the 10 hacks. But knowing what to do is only half of this. Every single winter, people die in vans from mistakes that take 10 seconds to avoid. Here are the 5 big ones, and number 3 is the reason I made this video. Mistake number 1, idling the engine all night for heat. It feels like the obvious answer. The van has a perfectly good heater, so why not run it? 3 reasons. First, fuel. Idling burns roughly half a gallon per hour, so a single cold night costs $15 or more. Money that would buy blankets that work every night forever. Second, engine wear. Long idles are hard on the motor, and a family living in their van cannot afford a dead van. But the third reason is the one that kills. If snow piles up around the tailpipe, or the exhaust system has even a small leak, carbon monoxide seeps into the cabin while you sleep. It's colorless, odorless, and it happens to parked drivers every winter. During the Texas ice storm in February of 2021, hospitals treated hundreds of people for carbon monoxide poisoning in a matter of days. Many of them families sitting in idling cars trying to stay warm. If you ever must idle for heat, it's windows cracked, exhaust pipe cleared, and short stretches while awake. Never as an all-night sleeping arrangement. Mistake number 2, falling asleep with a propane heater running. Portable propane heaters are popular in the van world, and the modern ones with tip-over switches and oxygen sensors are decent tools. But they are tools for when you're awake. Every one of them consumes the oxygen in your van and produces moisture and combustion gases, and the safety sensors are a last line of defense, not a babysitter. The routine that keeps families alive is simple. Run the heater in the evening with a window crack, warm the space up, then shut it completely off before sleep and let the cocoon bed do its job. And whether you use propane, candles, or nothing at all, a battery-powered carbon monoxide detector belongs in every vehicle someone sleeps in. The CDC counts roughly 400 accidental carbon monoxide deaths in America every year, and a $20 detector prevents almost all of them. Van dwellers will tell you flatly, it's the first thing you buy. Before the mattress, before the curtains, before anything. Mistake number 3, burning charcoal inside. This is the one from the beginning of the video. And yes, I mean the bag of briquettes sitting in your garage right now. Every winter somewhere, a person is found in the morning after bringing a charcoal grill or a bucket of briquettes inside a car, a van, or a tent to stay warm. Charcoal produces enormous amounts of carbon monoxide, far more than almost any other fuel, and it keeps producing it even when the coals look dead and gray. There is no safe way to do it. Not with a window crack, not near the door, not for just a little while. People assume that because there's no visible smoke, there's no danger, and that assumption is exactly what makes it lethal. You don't get a warning, you just get sleepy. If you take one single thing from this entire video, make it this: charcoal never comes inside anything you sleep in, ever, under any circumstances. Tell your kids, tell your neighbors, tell the family you see setting up in the parking lot. This one sentence saves lives every winter. Mistake number 4, sealing the van up airtight. It seems logical. Cold air comes in through gaps, so block every gap. New van dwellers tape over vents, stuff towels in every seam, and wake up to a nasty surprise. Two people breathing all night exhale over a liter of water into the air, and in a sealed metal box that moisture condenses on every cold surface. Soaked bedding, frost inside the windows, and within weeks, mold in the walls and the mattress. Damp insulation doesn't insulate, so ironically, the sealed van gets colder. Worse, you're depleting the oxygen you sleep on. The rule experienced folks live by is warm and ventilated beats, warm and sealed. Crack a window a half inch, ideally two openings at opposite ends so air trickles through. The cocoon bed handles the cold. The airflow handles everything else. Mistake number 5, draining your starter battery for gadgets. This last one doesn't kill people, it strands them. Your van's battery exists to start the engine, and that's nearly all it can do. Run a phone charger, a fan, and an inverter off it for a few evenings, and one frosty morning the engine just clicks. Now you're in a dead vehicle in the cold, possibly somewhere remote, and the tow costs more than a month of food. Cold weather makes it worse because a battery loses a big chunk of its cranking power below freezing to begin with. The fix is separation. All the gadgets run off power banks or a portable power station, the ones you filled for free at the library or with that solar panel, and the starter battery gets left alone to do its one job. Treat it like a fire extinguisher. You maintain it, you protect it, and you never ever borrow from it. So there it is. Insulate the glass, park smart, shrink your space, build the bed, harvest free power, and never let charcoal or a running engine share the air your family sleeps on. Now these 10 hacks are the ones that fit in one video. The full system, the complete winter vehicle kit checklist, the layering guide, the food and water plan, and the printable emergency card for your glove box is all inside my ebook, Name Here. The link is right below this video in the description, and it takes about 2 minutes to grab. If 20 minutes of video taught you this much, the full guide is worth a look before the next cold snap. And next week's video on finding safe, legal places to park overnight in all 50 states is on screen now.